Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to another awesome episode of On the Throttle with Jacqui Van Ham and my buddy Josh Trokey, bringing you all of the breaking news going on out here in motorcycling and power sports. For today's show, we've got several exciting topics coming your way, including is Rambo coming to a dealership near you, and Harley-Davidson is looking for a hero. Josh, what do you got going on in your neck of the woods?
So, do you not have enough Fs, or maybe you felt like your Fs need a redo for this year? Well, that is what KTM did for 2024. We're going to talk about that. And then, like so many people since COVID, BDR gets another X. And like a scorned lover, I think this is a good thing.
We have to wait for that story and all of our stories after this word from our sponsor.
For all of your motorcycle ATV and UTV oil requirements, be sure to run Pen Grade 1. The unique base oil cut utilized in the original green oil and the enhanced levels of anti-wear additives provide strong protection while reducing internal friction for increased horsepower output under the most demanding conditions. Pen Grade 1 is proud to be made in the USA.
So, as I mentioned, we've got several exciting stories coming your way for today. My very first story is Rambo coming to a dealership near you. That's right, you didn't hear me wrong, but not the Rambo you're thinking of, not Sylvester Stallone with the bandana and all the shenanigans. It's Rambo, the e-bike company. The slide is on your screen right now. So these very cool e-bikes are currently just got picked up by Tucker Powersports, and that is who is going to be their exclusive distributor. So this is a little bit of breaking news, beep, 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 out here in motorcycle land. These Rambo bikes, I did a little bit of a dive into them. Really very cool machines. There's a lot going on. Let's go ahead and jump on into the story. Tucker Powersports announced that it is now the exclusive distributor of Rambo Electric Bicycles, adding this unique brand to its expanding portfolio of e-power products. Rambo bikes are sturdy, fat tire bikes that excel at handling all types of terrain, making them a top choice for hunters and outdoor enthusiasts. Not gonna lie, that's kind of what caught my eye for this particular e-bike, is because it's so different. It's going after this very like niche within a niche within a niche part of the market. And the more I kind of thought about it, the more sense it makes, right? Because it moves through the forest. It's perfect for outdoor forest type use. All Rambo electric bikes are designed to handle tough terrain and challenging conditions, making them ideal for hunting, overlanding, and other outdoor activities. With powerful motors and long-lasting batteries, Rambo bikes offer riders the ability to conquer the most difficult trails and have the carrying capacity needed for an avid outdoors enthusiast or a successful hunter. They have several different versions going on. There's a mid-drive motor that has a peak rating of 1,000 watts and delivers 110 newton meters of torque for climbing hills and acceleration. The Pursuit also includes anti-puncture Kenda fat tires for maximum traction and performance. The Rambo Crusader is the first two-wheel drive. That's right, you didn't hear me wrong. Two-wheel drive e-bike in the hunting category. I thought this was just really incredibly fascinating. And like I said, I at first kind of wanted to just kind of glaze over this as, just another e-bike in a pretty crowded, but still pretty hot selling e-bike space. But I love that they're going for this niche within a niche within a niche. Now, don't get it twisted. Just because the big fat tired knobby bike with all the camo all over is on the screen right now, look at this guy on the screen. Just a really cool chubby tire, could be used in town, could be used out on dirt trails, could go a lot of different places. I love the styling of this. I think they're really slick. Their entry-level model, which is called the Rooster, starts at $16,999. There are machines that go all the way up to, again, that double hub driven machine. That guy tops out a little bit closer to 62999 for the Megatron all-wheel drive. There's a lot of price points in between. I think they're worth looking at, and they are now being distributed by the folks at Tucker Powersports. Josh, what do you think about Rambo?
You know what? When you first mentioned the name, I was like, "Oh, is this going to have the bad accent and everything?" But really, I mean, as you got into it, these totally make sense to me because, especially as power sports people, when someone goes off into the woods to go hunting, power sports has opened up going farther and deeper into the woods than people were ever able to do before. The only caveat to that is that you had to scare the bejabbers out of all the animals on your way in. Now you've got that ability to kind of sneak up. I mean, put the black under your eyes so that way you can go in there, right? But really, now you've got the ability to sneak in and sneak out. To me, I love the idea. I'm interested to see how these are going to do.
Yeah, I think it's really clever. And then just one last note about these Rambo bikes. They do come with all sorts of different accessories, including some side racks. They've got a rack that you can tow on the back of this with. So in case you are a successful hunter, you can bring your successful hunt with you back to the truck or wherever you're going. So they do have some really neat accessories for these. These are not just for show. These are for go. Again, that is Rambo is now being distributed by Tucker Powersports. Josh, what you got going on for your first story?
So KTM is on a bit of a rampage, much like Rambo would be themselves, in terms of updating and redesigning. They've got a number of bikes that I don't want to say were stale, but they're due for an update. So for the 2024, KTM has just released their updated EXC-F line. And as you see this here, sharp looking bike. We talked about it last week with the Supermoto. I love the fact that they've brought some purple back into these things. If you remember, I mean, 90s was all about these wild colors. So they brought a little bit of that back. These bikes are 95% new components, according to KTM. It includes body, chassis, lighting, a whole bunch of other stuff. This uses a hydroformed laser cut and robot welded frame, much like the SMR. The foot pegs I found very interesting on this. They say they're mounted closer to center, making a slightly narrower bike and obviously making it a little bit easier to fit between things when you go to do dumb things like I do. On this, they have also done people are warming up to this. We'll see how it goes. The two-piece rear subframe that is both polyamide and aluminum combo. Now that, if we go to the last slide, I believe, it houses a new off-road control unit, which to me is really, really, really cool. This little thing right here. So there's no more fuses. There's no more relays. Failed components are deactivated individually. So if your right front turn signal goes kashfoot on you, guess what? It's just going to shut that off if it's shorted out, because you may or may not have tossed it at the ground. Not that that's ever happened. But it will automatically shut that off, so that way you don't have to worry about it. And these green lights in here will light up red, so that way you know what the offending circuit is, rather than having to pull the bike halfway apart, replace fuses, and then have it blow up, and then have to go to the store, get other fuses, and have multiple things in the same circuit. This, to me, is a really, really cool idea, because with dual sport stuff, it is all about reliability, because you're riding out into areas where you just can't find parts or anything like that. Some of the other specs, these have 48 millimeter WP exact forks. The rear uses the PDS setup with Explore shock, all fully adjustable. One of the cool things with this is you don't need hands to, or you do need hands to adjust it. You do not need tools to adjust it. No more screwdrivers, no more digging through the saddlebags for the screwdrivers. Just turn the knobs by hand. To me, that is a huge thing, because if you're out on a trail and out on the road, those are going to be oftentimes different settings. It's a pain if you got to get tools out. The engine is tilted back 2 degrees, as you can see here. The front sprocket has been lowered 3 millimeters, which obviously is better centralization and better anti-squat characteristics. Like I mentioned before, there's new bodywork, 2.24 gallons of fuel in the 4 strokes. The US gets a 350 and a 500cc bike. Europe also gets a 250 and a 450. I'm a little jealous. The 500 rings in at only 253 pounds. Both of these are slated for delivery in August. 253 pounds is nothing for a bike like this. Don't you agree, Jacqui? I mean, this is ridiculous.
Well, I love that this is arriving just in time for my birthday. I'm not going to lie. I think this bike is slicker than snot on a doorknob. I think it is just very, very cool. I love some of these new features, making it be a little bit more intuitive to ride. I dig it. I'm here for it. This is a yes for me. I will be looking for one of these for my birthday. I think that is really very, very cool.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, and my birthday's also in that timeline, so KTM, we'll take two. We'll take two. Yeah.
So, my next story, as I promised at the beginning of the show, and for my Gen X viewers out there, Harley Davidson is holding out for a hero. But we're going to have that story and Josh's story after this word from our sponsor.
The road can throw a lot at you, but you can depend on Heidenau Tires to see you through it. Quality, made in Germany. For more info, go to HeidenauTires.com.
So as promised, like I said, I don't know if you got my reference or not. It was that old song "Holding Out for a Hero." Anywho, Harley Davidson, this kind of like snuck underneath my radar because there's been an awful lot of hubbub out here on the internet about two different things from Harley Davidson land. One is the bikes that they're releasing for the 120th anniversary. Congratulations, Harley Davidson. They're absolutely beautiful. They've released several very cool, limited, custom type there. And then the other conversation that's been going on are the handful of motorcycles, and by handful I mean two, being currently made in China for the Harley Davidson overseas market. And in this country, the Harley Davidson Rider Academy. There was an awful lot of dust stirred up about those motorcycles in particular, seeing as they are made in China. It offended some of the more Buy American folks who back Harley Davidson. That being said, there isn't really plans on selling those bikes here in this country. That is not the game plan for those bikes. They're really only meant to be used for Rider Academy at this point. They're only really meant to be for Chinese market. So, with all of that being said, this kind of snuck underneath my radar. And when it showed up on the internet this past week, I had to clutch my pearls and do a double take because this bike is absolutely dead sexy. And it's not a surprise because it was built in partnership with the folks in India at Hero MotoCorp, who do know a thing or two about designing and making all sorts of machinery. The folks at Hero have their hands in every single thing you can imagine. They make lots and lots and lots of very cool stuff. This, my friends, on your screen is the Harley-Davidson X440. The 440 is going to be standing, we are assuming, for the displacement of this small bike. It does appear to be, there is not a ton of details floating around, but this does appear to be a single. So a 440 single coming from the folks at Harley-Davidson. Again, this is made by the folks at Hero. So is this an India market only machine, or is this going to be coming to the US? Let's at it. Harley-Davidson finally drops images of the India-made X440 ahead of the launch. Harley-Davidson's offshore exploits have hardly been a secret to anybody. The All-American icon has decided to get some help from foreign players in a bid to expand in the Asia market, like I just mentioned, with those two Chinese market bikes being made by QJ. You might be aware, I was not, of the partnership with Hero. While the brand is focused primarily on small displacement machines designed for commuting, it's embarking on a new category with the cruiser built in partnership with Harley-Davidson. While the new model isn't scheduled for launch until the 4th of July, Harley-Davidson India has decided to drop these teaser images of the new bike. It's called the X440. Again, it should be a 440cc machine. It does appear to be a single. It does have a more aggressive rake angle, which makes it look less like a cruiser and more like a naked bike. To add to this bike has mid controls, woo, and a relatively tall handlebar should make for quite a neutral riding position. In terms of styling, it's clear to see that this bike is still a Harley, and it does, in my mind, reference again that X350, the Rider Academy bike, and then the floating around images of the X500, which is also built by QJ or Benelli, whichever name you prefer to use. This does clearly seem to be a member of that family. It's not jumping too far ahead of itself, except for the styling. This X440 looks fantastic. The cut wheels, the murdered out vibe. I love the whole tank to seat angles that are going on there. The front they did really nice and tidy with that round LED light and two little mini round turn signals. I think this is just absolutely beautiful. I am not sure if it's coming to this country or not, but I gotta tell you, everyone that's been talking about this past week out there on the internet is pretty excited about it. And I've been hearing an awful lot of comments like this might be the first time I'm interested in buying a Harley Davidson. Josh, What do you think about the X440 from the folks at Harley?
It's so interesting because it is such, I mean, Harley does kind of one thing and one thing, that's it. To see this, it's interesting. And what the two thoughts that when I first saw this came to mind, the one is this to me is like, I mean, this is a bike that makes sense in India when you see how crowded their streets are and everything like that. So if you want that Harley Davidson look, but a bike that's still usable in India, by golly, this is it. I mean, this has that look. But once again, still usable. It's a smaller bike. It fits in between two buses that are parked this far apart. I love all of that. To me, I can totally see it as a way for non-traditional Harley people to like a Harley in the US. To me, I see that. Is it possible? Boy, I mean, I think it would behoove them to take a stab at this. Definitely bring it here. Let's see who's willing to throw a leg over it, price it right, and I think you're in a good boat there. Yeah, I like it. I may not have one in my garage, but I think it would be a great move.
I think again, I am just completely over the moon about this. I think a 440 single would just be a hoot. And it is going to dabble and be in the same space as like the BMW G310, which absolutely crushed it sales wise. It was kind of a sleeper. Nobody really knew what to think about it. The dealerships and, some talkers out here in the motorcycle space kind of poo-pooed on it at first. And it's a slam dunk for the folks at BMW. It's sold like gangbusters. The Royal Enfield 350, the Royal Enfield smaller bikes have been really crushing it in this market, in the UK market, and in European market as well. So I'm very curious to see if it ends up coming over here, if it's going to make anybody change their mind about whether they're going to get on a Harley or not. But the one thing I will say is that the current CEO of Harley-Davidson, Jochen Seitz, when he did release his big State of the Union speeches in the last 2 years or so that he has been at the helm, he's talking about this great big Harley-Davidson boat going in the direction and staying in the direction of their biggest profit margin bikes, which are going to be, of course, the large bikes, the big baggers, the tour bikes, the big trikes. He's talking about staying in those spaces. So I hope this 440 ends up here. I have some strong feelings that it probably will not, but I think it's dead sexy and I think everybody should know about it. So that's what I got to talk about for today for my second story. Josh, what do you got to say for your second story today?
Speaking of dead sexy, let's talk about X's. The BDR gets another X. And to me, this is pretty exciting because this is it's a new format. They've got the BDR is Backcountry Discovery Routes. They go out, they find great routes for people to go ride on, such as this. This is my playground. These are my people. This is where I go. This is where I hide from the entire planet at. These are a third route of the sort. They've got two others. One of them's in Pennsylvania. This circles the Steens Mountains and the Alvord Desert. I'm probably saying those wrong. I'm okay with it. What these do, though, is this is a route that's meant for people that have like a couple of days to go out and do this. This is the current Oregon BDR. So this is all up in Oregon. This is I believe, 165-mile route with very diverse terrain. You go from 5,000 feet up to 10,000 feet. There are some mixed gravel roads, and there are some, as Ina Thorne said, the executive director, there are some more gravel roads and some more challenging sections that you can opt to take also. To me, the BDR is amazing. They go out, they're all about making sure that these small towns that these routes go through are supported. They make sure that the people that take these routes are supported. They make sure that you're not going to get lost. They give you GPX tracks. They do the whole 9 yards. And this is coming out June 7th at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time is when you can catch the video. The videos that they do for these are always amazing. They typically make me salivate just watching them, like, oh, I need to go there. So it's coming out June 7th, as I said. Make sure you hit their YouTube channel after you're done watching this and done subscribing here, because these are the types of things that if you're into the ADV and dirt stuff, you're going to want to make sure that you've got that out. And if you're one of our West Coast viewers, go ride one of these and let us know how they are. I mean, Jacqui, you know that I want to ride all of these, but finding the time to do that is not going to happen. So, I mean, to me, the X's are a good thing. I mean, do you think the X's are a good thing?
I never think X's are a good thing, but I will say that BDR is, however, always a good thing. They always have great routes. They always have great rides. Their coverage is always fantastic. I can't gush and give them enough love. They do very cool stuff. Josh, the Pennsylvania version is right up the street from you.
It's about 4 hours.
Calendar. Make some time, my friend. Life is short.
I'm hoping this year.
Yeah.
I got to put it on the calendar.
Man, we should go together and film it. What do you guys say out there who watch the program? Who wants to watch Josh and I go ride and smash up dirt bikes? That's going to be a yes from me.
It's a great idea.
So,
yeah.
It is a great idea. As always, though, gang, thanks for tuning in. Huge thanks to Pengrade and Heidenau Tires, which is today's show sponsors. Thanks to you for tuning in every single week, clicking, liking, sharing, subscribing, smashing, and doing all the buttons and things and stuff. We appreciate you tuning in, and we will see you all next week. Also, for more in-depth information about some of these stories and more, we cover all sorts of awesome topics more in depth at our parent website, which is motorcyclepowersportsnews.com. Go check it out. Have a great week, everybody. We'll see you next week. Ride safe.